desperation over destination. If this is your first time listening, my name's Jack Merrony and I own and run Old Eltons Embroidery and Print, and I'm joined by my co-host Mathew Price, who owns and runs his own tattoo studio called Sursum Tattoo in Narberth. Last week we had businessman Kirk Digler from Yeo Familiar, premium skincare for every day, vegan, eco-friendly, the lot. That guy is awesome and we had such a good time talking to him. Hell of a guy, legend. This week we are very excited to have Liam Watkins. He is one of the events managers up at Sin City in Swansea. This is the first time Pricey and Liam have met. Liam's a very, very old friend of mine. Tune in, sit down, grab a beer and enjoy.
To progression, over destination. I'm with Jack Merrony from Old Eltons Clothing, as usual. I'm Matt Price from Sursum Tattoo. This is episode number 9 with Liam Watkins, not Ian Watkins. He is the Sin City events manager in Swansea.
Wait, okay, so.
I love that this has come in straight away. I'm not the pedo. I'm the guy who puts on gigs sometimes in Swansea. Hiya. You all right?
Good.
I'm doing well.
Oh, that was a fucking whirlwind of an intro. Right, Liam. Thank you very much for joining us on episode 9. We're almost at episode 10. I did not think we'd get this far because of the 6-month gap between episode 1 and episode 2. But we're back with episode 9 and it's going down really well. Got a lot of good reactions from a lot of people, so I'm really happy with that. So basically, the first question is, what's your favourite beige snack, Liam?
This, honestly, since listening to Gav Front Row's podcast, what was that? Fucking
5.
5?
I think so.
I'm listening from there. I like this question's been haunting me. Like I like. No, there's so much good fucking beige food.
Yep.
There's so much good beige food, but I think like it's hash browns.
Ooh.
Oh, fun fact.
You sound like King of the Iron Fist tournament with that one.
Fun fact. Well, it's not a fact. It's more of a fact about myself. When I go to McDonald's, I eat around the edge of the hash brown and then give the rest to Kelsey.
That's love.
It's called the gash brown. Because you're too much of a fanny to give it to someone else. Eat your own. I mean,
eat the crispy bits. No.
Yeah, eat the crispy bits and then the rest to Kelsey.
Hash browns are so good. You can have them like breakfast, lunch, like dinner, like perfect. I was going to go for chips, but you can't have chips with a full breakfast. That's just you like.
Yeah, but a lot of people do that. Americans do that, right?
I know, and they're fucking maniacs.
We've had 2-1. We're yeah.
Oh no,
two Americans on.
Yeah, and I'm sure they don't eat chips for breakfast because they were lovely guests.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Ian said his favourite breakfast was chips, wasn't it, Matt?
Potatoes.
Just all round.
Potato chips. All right, let's get into it. Now we've broken the hash brown. We can get into the question at numero uno. Pricey, you want to take away?
Yeah. How did you start out at Sin City, Liam? Can you tell us?
I can. So I moved up to Swansea to do nursing back in 2013, and I wanted to be a nurse. I was a carer for like a year and a half before that. I went back to Pembridge College to do like biological sciences just to get in. Smashed that, did it, got in. And then by about 6 months through the first year, because I was living with nurses, hanging out with nurses, and like, working with nurses.
Hanging out of nurses.
No. No. But all they would do was talk about nursey things. And I was just like, no, like, I can't fucking deal with this. I grew up like so much with music and skateboarding and surfing that I was like, there was so much diversity in mine and our friend group, because obviously I've been friends with Jack for so long, that I just needed to get out of that kind of circle. So one of my friends turned around and said, oh, there's this rock bar in Swansea that's got a position open for bar staff. Go for it. So I went for it, turned up. I fucking, like, it was the most lackadaisical interview I've ever been to. I turned up wearing like a drop dead vest. I to the fucking interview because I was just like, yeah, these are gonna be my type of people.
So 2013, yeah, that's you in a nutshell right there.
Yeah, no, exactly. So I started there. I applied at the end of first year, so it was like 2014. So I came back September 2014 to a job behind the bar. But the interview was perfect. I was interviewed by one of the managers at the time, a girl called Anis, and she was like, "Okay, what kind of music are you into?" And I just started listing off all these bands, and she was just like, "The only person who knows or talks about these bands is my boyfriend Pete, who's also the other manager. Hang on, let me go grab him. Stole him mid-interview from someone."
Yeah.
45 minutes later, just talking about bands and music, he turns around and goes, "Oh fuck, I've left them in the room."
Oh shit!
Getting interviewed.
Were they interviewing for the same position?
Same position, yeah. There was
Fuck them.
there was there was like, I think there was like, it was like the biggest hall like workforce wise Sin had for like quite a while. There was like 12 positions open.
Wow.
For like bar staff. It was like, and there's only like 15, 16 bar staff anyway. So you had like a few guys that were staying, mainly like second year students. Obviously the management team is the same, but then like this whole new force of people came and joined. And then like I stayed, worked behind the bar. I balanced the nursing, and obviously like that kind of got a little bit hard. I did make it work because obviously like the main club night shift would finish at like 3 or 4 a.m.
Yeah.
I'd go home, get like an hour or two sleep, and then go back on to the wards for like placement for like eight hours. Which was it was fine. I was surviving. Like I was a lot younger back then. I could do that.
5 years ago, eh?
Fine? Yeah.
5 years ago.
Still fucking younger. And then like end of second year came, and like so much stuff like landed on me at the same time, and I went to like so much stuff happened. I ended up going to see like the uni's counseling services was so good. I went to see a counselor for like 2 sessions, and it just got to the point where I talked about it, realized what was making me feel miserable, and it was the nursing, because I pinpointed what was making me feel happy, and it was basically the environment and working in Sin. And about that time where I turned around and said to my boss, Gary, Big G, I was just like, I started a shift at like 10 o'clock, and I turned around and I was just like, look, I'm really sorry, I'm bailing out of nursing. I've got to leave the city. And he was just like, okay, no, that's all right. Thank you very much. Like, appreciate you telling me, Finished the shift, and Gary called me over just to have a talk, and he turned around. So this is like a 5-hour gap. And he turned around and was just like, don't tell anyone. I've got 2 managers leaving in the next couple of months. You want to stick around, and one of the jobs is yours. And I was like, yeah, fucking right. Yes, let's do that. Let's do that. And I've been there ever since. And it's given me the ability to dip.
You booked some incredible bands for Swansea.
Like some of it has been just ridiculous. And
just list us a few of like the people that you've managed to work with.
So we've had like the Wonder Years. They came down, Lower Than Atlantis, Twin Atlantic, and like my absolute all-time favorite moment, and the one time that I was actually starstruck, but I had to keep it together because I was in work, was Frank Carter on the fucking Rattlesnake.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Your mum was there for that, right?
My mum was there for every single one of those gigs. My mum was always turning around and be like, "Oh, can I get a ticket, please?" I was like, "Mum, you're on the fucking guest list. You know this. You know this."
Gets automatic guest list.
All mums should have automatic guest list.
Why didn't I give birth to you?
Like I genuinely think like if you can get your mum guest list or dad, because dad's come up. Like dad came up to, we had a Maverick Sabre Unplugged.
Yeah.
And that was a stunning show. Holy shit, that was stunning. And Dad and Geordie came up for that. And it was like, if you can get guests, like, don't get me wrong, like in my industry, I'm like, buy a gig ticket. Like it's huge, buy a gig ticket, it's all on ticket sales.
But your gigs sell out. So we can't. But like me personally, I'm too fucking slow to buy a gig ticket.
Yeah, I mean,
There's only one show that I've been to of yours, and it was Dream State, and that was fucking incredible.
That was sick.
And that was just pure by chance that I messaged you for it.
Yeah. And obviously I turned around to CJ, who like we've known for fucking.
We were in school with her, so
yeah, exactly. So we were able to, and I work with, and when I say I mean like Sin is like a collective.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, I can't take credit for everything that Sin does in no way, shape, or form. This is such a fucking amazing team. Like Gary, Mike, Tierney, Dean from Imperial Music. Like, it's absolutely, like, we're such a tight-knit little bunch. So I can't take credit for everything. But, like, we've worked with Dream State for so long. And because they are, I know CJ's from down with us, but the rest of the boys are, like, Swansea area. We like, and just with a lot of other bands, like all the Swansea bands, like if they wanted to come to us, then like, yeah, we'd help them. They turn around to us and be like, we got to do a festival run through for Download. Can we use your space, your stage? And it was just like, yeah, like it would be a day off, and it would just be like, yeah, we'll just come in. It'll be fine. It's just like, 6 hours of like fucking great music.
And I can't stress enough how good they were. Like I've watched a lot of live music over the years, and that was just insane.
They're phenomenal. And like for people with that much energy and fucking talent, oh my God, they're so chill.
Have you heard them, Pricey?
Yeah, they're good. That's the girl singer, right?
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah. I saw something because it's a lot based on mental health, isn't it? The music.
Yeah, she struggles. She has a real hard time with mental health. But yeah, she does so well. We were actually talking to her after the show, and she was saying how much she struggles before going on and stuff. But once she's on there, she just channels some sort of mad energy that.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Like she like, and a lot of them are like a bag of nerves before they go on, and then they come off stage doing something fucking incredible for an amazing amount of people, and
she's
they come off
crowd surfing.
Crowd surfing, just running around, just in the middle of a pit, and they'll come off stage, and you'll be like, "That was incredible!" And you'll be like, "You'll hype up this big thing because it was such a big thing," and she'd be like, "Yeah, it was good."
Yeah,
and it was just
like 600 people jumping off their feet. Yeah, it was alright. Could have done better.
Yeah, it was alright. No, it's not. It's not even like I could have done better. It's just so fucking nonchalant, and I appreciate that so much because like I used to find that back when we were in bands back in the day, running gigs, like we'd be a bag of nerves, or at least I definitely was, and like you'd have a couple of pints for that liquid courage. And you jump off stage because as soon as you play that first note or sing that first tune, everything just disappears. And then you come off stage and you're just like, fuck yeah, I want to do that again.
Pricey, when did you play your last gig?
Oh, Jesus. It would have been in TJ's, I think. I think it was TJ's.
Nice. That's so sad.
I'm not sure. It might be Buffalo Bar. I don't know.
Where's Buffalo? That's Cardiff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Both.
But that was like, bloody hell.
Buffalo's still going, isn't it?
2009, 2010. Yeah, probably.
19. What were you doing? Yeah, you've been 23.
Yeah. I think so. Would have been earlier than that then. It was. When did I have
that was probably when I played like some of my first shows when you were playing your last one. Front row.
I don't know. No, because I did your artwork, so that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So we were recording when I was doing your artwork. That's how I got your artwork. Yeah. But we did like 2 shows after recording and then knocked her on the head because none of us give a shit. Well, I gave a shit. I was the one with like the £150 fucking phone bills. But this was like back in the day before it was like you could have a WhatsApp group. Or you know, like it's like, oh, Matt's got to ring round everybody and be like, Can you do practice on Thursday at 7 o'clock? Yeah, no worries. I'll ring you back in a bit. Thanks, boy. Can you do practice? They're like we're literally ringing around 7 people. It's like
people don't know how easy
7
they've
people.
got it.
7 people. Were you in a ska band?
He's
We
in a
had a
gypsy
DJ.
caravan. He's in a gypsy ska band.
Yes, I'm into that.
Were you like Linkin Park, Bryce? I've never asked you about your band. What were you called again?
Oh, we're not talking about it now.
We
Oh,
are.
come on,
Because you said
man.
in Hannah's, we're not talking about this. What was your band called?
We were called We Are the Deal.
We Are the Deal, yes.
Yeah. But you will link up on a YouTube link later. I'll put my MySpace profile up.
Oh my God. Imagine if we all still have MySpace.
It's like, I think all of our pictures are like outside the practice pad on
the corner?
No, we're outside the practice room on top of my Citroen Saxo.
We had you say that outside your practice room when we used to jam in the jam shop. When we used to practice in the jam shop in Haverford, Marty and Chocolate the dog, God rest his soul. There was like an abandoned boat out the back, and somebody thought it would be funny to have a photo shoot in this boat.
Edgy.
Super edgy, and I remember I had like bleach blonde hair and like a pink fringe across the front, and I had like an Atticus polo shirt. Yeah, I was. Yeah,
it just branded up.
The epitome of emo.
Oh, it was. We all had a different color in our fringe every single week. We'd walk into Pembrokeshire College, no one would look the fucking same from week to week.
I was called Rhubarb or Bruiser.
The Power Rangers.
Wait, was that your name in the band? Bruiser? Or like a nickname?
No, the nickname that people used to give me in college, because I had like green hair and like a pink fringe, and then I had blonde hair with a pink fringe. I was fruit salad, Bruiser. I had all of it.
Yeah, the one that stuck with me was Lima, because at one point I had a bright white fringe.
Yep.
That I fucked up, so there was black spots in it, so it just looked like a Lima's fucking pattern, and that was it. It just stuck. I remember fucking Steve Rowe and Ed Harper just every time, but it was nothing ever mean. It turned into a thing like Lima. What are you doing? It's and then it was like a call and response thing. It was so easy.
Well, even I call you Lima, and I've never really known the origin of that nickname.
That's the origin of that. I fucked my hair up so badly. It still came into college. I think that was the beauty of it back then. Like, you could do stupid things. Like nowadays, like you'd be on a fucking, what's that new shitty thing called? TikTok. I almost said that then. TikTok. You've been on TikTok. You'd be all across the fucking internet, or no, I'd say internet. Like you'd be across like people's fucking social medias. But
yeah,
back in the day, like I can't like trying to take a picture with a camera phone. Back in then, you just be one big pixel.
Yeah, I sent like a video the other day to some of the boys of one of our mates like running through Cardiff with his pants down. And like I've sent it to the group chat, and one of the boys was like, "What did you film that on? A fucking banana?" Like
a banana? It's not the same as potato.
Jesus, banana. Yeah, it was minging.
Right, let's get back on track.
It's you, sorry. Right, so Liam, earlier Jack was on about him not being able to get into any gigs because you're too booked up and busy, or whatever. Not booked up, but you're too.
It sounds out so fast.
Yeah. So, do you exchange free entry for your shows for anything like photography or write-ups or for contacts?
Yeah, 100%. Like, we'll get like for the bigger shows, it gets a little bit more complicated because it's all going to be agent approved. We've got an in-house photographer at the moment, Nathan Roach, who's Cole Poet Photography. Yeah. And he's a fucking phenomenal photographer.
I didn't know he was an in-house tog. I didn't know that.
So he's kind of like he's on our books, and don't get me wrong, a lot of the times he can be booked up and he can't make it, but for the like club night wise, but for the shows he's absolutely there. Yeah. Now and again we will get I think we had so we had Goldie Looking Chain back in.
Was that when they came to Narberth as well?
November.
That was not November time. It was the World Tour of Wales, which
genius.
The World Tour of Wales.
They're fucking exceptional. I gotta say, they're exceptional showmen, and what fucking nice guys as well.
Yeah, they're super nice to me.
Oh, they're so nice. Chilled out. And we had like 3 or 4 photographers, but because they didn't necessarily have an agent, like that show wasn't booked through us. That was MJR. So they came, asked for the venue. We were like, yeah, sound. And it turns out it was Gold Oak and Jane. Like we get nice as well because we don't necessarily book everyone. We get booked out by like national promoters and stuff like that. We had like 4 or 5 photographers, including our own, for that show. And there's just free entry, and like obviously like Gold Oak and Chain boys, they're just like yeah, sound like that's absolutely fucking fine. When it came to like Lowland Atlantis, Twin Atlantic, like Frank Carter, then it was, and even like Milk Teeth, we were inundated with like photographers or like little startup journalists saying like, I'd love to come, be able to review the show. Obviously there's no ticket. So it's trying to find that nice balance of
who do you pick.
Yeah, it's trying to find that nice balance of that. And I've always, obviously we're going to get great photos through Nathan, like regardless, it's going to be great. So I like to, like, if we could have like a journalist there to cover the show, awesome. Because there's not too many of them around. But if we can have some more people, like more amateur photographers who, because we're an independent venue, we like to keep things very low-key, independent, and like, I don't want to say give a foot up, because I feel like we're kind of putting ourselves in like a godlike status in which we aren't. But if we can like help out someone, like you can see an amateur photographer and they've like just like they've almost got it, and you just think like for someone. Like I remember turning around to my sister Eva, like she's a phenomenal photographer. She won Portrait of Britain this year. Like she's absolutely phenomenal. So my brother Geordie went off to university up in Leeds, and Geordie was kind of like my gig buddy, and then he left, and I was just like, right, Eva, you need to step up to this position. But she went everywhere with her camera. And I remember going to see While She Sleeps in the Fleece in Bristol, and she was on my shoulders for like the entire gig. And I'm not sure if both of you probably both have been to it, but it's an old fleecery with iron bars running the length of the fucking venue.
Yeah, I know the fleece.
Any fucking pit is the most dangerous. So I had my little sister, who must have been like 12, 13 at the time, on my shoulders taking pictures. And they turned out phenomenally. So, and I always thought like, shit, if she wouldn't have had me, then she probably couldn't have got this. She might not have accelerated and done this. So like, it's all well and good giving it to like a really credited, established photographer who's literally like just honing their art, or giving it to someone as a fucking freebie just to say, come and shoot Frank Carter. You get three songs in the pit, no flash. I remember turning around to one of the photographers at the Lowland Atlantis gig, and this girl's, I think it was like her first gig that she'd actually shot. And I turned around and I was just like, okay, so normal, like 3 from the pit, no flash. And she was like, what does that mean? And I was like, fuck. I was just like, okay, cool. Like, this is an actual like starting block for this person to get into their craft, to be able to say like, this is industry standard.
Is she still doing it?
I believe so. Yeah. I believe so, which is really cool. And like, I don't accredit myself or Sin or anyone to that, because I feel like it's if you want to drive yourself forward, it's got to be you. But if you can give someone an opportunity to stay focused, have a great fucking time, see a great gig, and, you know, hopefully get some great shots out of it, then yeah, it's totally worth it.
Yeah.
It's totally worth it. So like,
that's good that you guys do that as well.
Yeah, it's good. We like to keep things local. We really do. Like with like any Swansea band who wants to run a show, they get the whole venue for free.
Oh, wow.
They have to show their like council tax bill or something.
I mean, most of them are that fucking young. They have no idea what the fuck council tax is. They haven't got a fucking clue.
Show me a council tax bill, but you're complaining.
So we'd be able to turn around to them and be like, yeah, here's like, you have a sound engineer, a full like music industry standard, like amazing fucking sound desk, PA system, Scott Neal on fucking lights, who's a wizard. And then obviously all of our marketing that like we can push through all of our channels, which is great, which is huge. But all we say to people is just like, if you put in the time and effort, if you put in the time to make like these posts about the gig, we'll push it. We'll push all that out there as soon as, obviously make our own posts as well. But yeah, it's just, we do really like to keep things local. And Swansea's got such, I don't want to use the word scene. I don't like the word music scene. Swansea's got a great,
community.
Yeah, you're right. It is a community. Because there only are like a small amount of venues in Swansea.
But it doesn't quite have the same ring, community kids, does it?
No.
Commune kids.
Forever the community kids.
You'll never get back in with the community kids.
Oh, fucking hell.
Oh, no, wait, that was sick, not seen.
Yeah, I did exactly the same thing with Forever the Seas kids. Fuck's sake.
Like, with like the scene within Swansea and everything, obviously you have other promoters putting on shows and stuff. How do you feel about people within your industry, and are you ever comparing your shows to their shows? Do you ever check their social media? Do you find that hard?
No, I think it's always healthy because it got to the point where and I won't name them, but a few venues got into the point where like they might be shutting down, which thankfully hasn't happened, because you don't want to be the only place in town putting on shows, not in a city, because there's so much pressure on you, and there's also I genuinely think that like there is a part of competition that is healthy. Not that we'd ever turn around and be like, oh well, they're doing stuff. Why aren't we doing this? Or they're doing stuff, and that's really cool. Why the fuck aren't we doing this?
Are you the biggest venue in Swansea apart from the theatre?
No, you got Branwyn Hall as well, and obviously Liberty Stadium, but that doesn't really count.
I don't think you're on that radar then.
No, not really. So
unless you get promoted to Sin City Stadium, that would be awesome.
So you got Branwyn Hall, which is a lush venue, but not many gigs happen there. Like I remember going up in 2005 to go see Real Big Fish, Less Than Jake, and Zebrahead, which turns out years later that was a gig booked in Sin City. But they sold so many fucking tickets, they were like, fuck it, let's move it to Branwyn Hall.
Wow.
And do it from there, which is amazing.
I supported Zebrahead and TJ's in Newport.
I did Zebrahead's t-shirt.
We're all connected.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Neil was like, Zebrahead are going on a UK tour, they need a t-shirt tomorrow. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's fucking rad. They were such a good band. I say they might still be going. I don't know.
They probably are. They're one of those bands, aren't they? That like,
yeah, they're like Real Big Fish, who like Aaron stays the same, but the whole like the brass section changes every half an album. All of them. But yeah, like Branwyn Hall is a great venue. That's 1,000 cap venue. And then yeah, you've got us. We're 700 cap, but we are the biggest independent venue in Wales.
Nice, that's nice.
So for a whole country, with the biggest independent.
I love the fact you said country. I love that.
Oh,
Wales is a country.
Wales is a country.
It is
Welsh.
a country.
You know.
What other people call it? A county.
Village.
Yeah.
It's a hamlet, isn't it?
It's a village. The big old village of Wales. So there's not many people you could collaborate with then, Liam, is it, or not?
Say again, sorry.
How would you collaborate with someone? How would you do that within your industry?
I mean, so there's a really great project in Swansea called the Swansea Music Hub. And those guys collaborate with everyone. They're phenomenal. So what they did, this got set up a few years ago, and it's a directory of all the Swansea bands that have been and gone, and all of them now presently. And they've got all their links on there. They've got all their, and it's done by genre, so it's perfect. So when that is my absolute hub. When we get a big-ish band coming in, like for example, we had Stand Atlantic come down. Unfortunately, I couldn't make the show because I was away at a festival. We had Stand Atlantic come down, and I was just like, fuck, pop punk, Swansea, right. And I was just like, right, Swansea Music Hub. And all of them just listed on Swansea Music Hub, and you can just ping out and just be like, hey, I know you guys, you've played a gig in the past, or you guys are brand fucking new, and I found you on Swansea Music Hub's page, and you've got pop punk or post-punk or hardcore punk. There's so many arms of punk that can fit into a punk show.
Punk.
Yeah. And it's such a good...
a library for you, really, isn't it?
It is. It's a library, and it's like a lexicon of fucking bands in Swansea, and it's perfect. It's something I wish, like, there's like a multiple things that we've either created or had a hand in creating or have just been created in Swansea, that I wish that I had when I was younger, or when we were younger. And like that goes for all of us, like playing in bands.
Can I just ask, what the fuck is a lexicon?
It's like a fancy word for dictionary.
Have you been researching words to come on this podcast?
No. I've been listening to a lot of Duncan Trussell. Have you seen Midnight Gospel on Netflix?
No, of course I haven't. We're so different in our viewing taste.
Right. Jump on fucking Netflix, because I watched the trailer and I was just like, this looks like an adult version of Mr. Ben. Do you remember Mr. Ben?
Yes.
Was that a challenge to yourself to put lexicon into a sentence?
No, I've got a multitude of words that's one of them.
Have you written some down?
No, I genuinely haven't.
Multitude.
We should put into the next one that if anybody is listening to this podcast that is in the next one, if they can fit the word lexicon into the next one, they get the Lexicon Outstanding Achievement Award for 2020.
What car do you drive? I drive a lexicon.
No, one of those fucking, what's those Irish people that live at the bottom of the rainbow?
Things, yeah.
The lexicon. Where was I?
I don't know.
You were telling us that your mother let her run away with the lexicon man.
Julie would never do that. Julie is a saint. Right, I remember where I was at. So Swansea Music Hub directory or lexicon is just it's a fantastic thing. But what we've started doing, so one of the guys that runs it is called Simon Parton. And one of the things that we had 2 amazing shows booked in, but this lockdown kind of fucked it. So they didn't actually go ahead. And it's a brand new night called Riff Raff. And it's all done in part with Swansea Music Hub. They're late night gigs, and it's usually showcasing the best, like the smaller touring bands that will come down and drip through, but then supported by just Swansea artists, nice. Which is huge. So it's we had the one of the shows we had was Buzzard. If you've ever heard of Buzzard, they are absolutely phenomenal. They are so good. But the whole purpose of this night is if you're an amateur photographer, come along. If you are a journalist or a blogger or a vlogger, come along.
So what? They're nights put on for people who are trying to better their industry?
Yes, in a way. Like that's one part of it. And then the other part of it is just putting on a fucking gig.
Yeah.
Just putting on a gig for people to come to. And for bands to practice being in front of
actual people, not playing to fucking no one.
Yeah, I mean, and that's not the worst thing in the world, because so many people say they're demoralized by playing to no one, but that should always spur you on to.
That's the best part, man. That's the best part.
Well, yeah, it's basically like a practice. It's basically like a festival rerun, because you got a fucking sound engineer right there, and you're going, I want, can I monitor up, please?
You had sound engineers when you were playing to no one? Jesus.
When
I was playing to no one. I had nobody. I was my own sound engineer.
Yeah, we never used. I think the one place we sound checked was in Swansea, What was the other place in Swansea years ago? It was 1 year ago in Swansea, wasn't it?
Oh, there was, so you
Milkwood
had,
Jam.
I was
Escape.
going to say Milkwood Jam. Oh, Escape. Yeah,
We
yeah,
played
Escape.
Escape and they didn't give us a sound check. So we played 30 seconds of the first song and weren't happy. So we walked off and then come back on. And I remember Scott from Midas Una was like, that's the fucking most rock and roll thing I've ever seen. I was like, oh. It's like all of my mates come down on the bus to watch us. We're like, fuck it. Oh, some shit.
Wow.
Like that. Yeah, that was our last gig, actually. It was like, fuck it. We don't want to be here.
Went out in fucking style then.
Are there any mottos or mantras that you live by, Liam?
I've been thinking a bit about this, and there was one that stuck out, and it wasn't necessarily said by me, but I do really like it, and I think I have applied it in some ways. So our sound engineer, he's called PC, and he's a lovely grumpy man, but he always means well. But one of his sayings is, and I remember him saying this to me on one of my first shift, I walked in and Wheatus were playing. You know, the old fucking teenage dirtbags. And I remember bumping into him like halfway through the night, and he turned around and I was giving him a hand doing the
Definitely job.
I was helping him on stage. And he said, take your time and go like fuck.
Nice. I like that.
Which is a complete oxymoron in itself.
Yeah.
But I feel like even with other situations like in my life, either I've done that unknowingly or I've started doing something and I've like taken my time and I've been really careful, and once I get the hang of it, I fucking go. Yeah. Everything's good.
Yeah.
And I really like that. Take your time and go like fuck.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's the episode name. Boom.
Oh, he's gonna be fucking thrilled with that.
Yeah.
But no, like genuinely, and he's great. He's got like a quote wall in the amp room, so we keep all the work.
Does he have live, laugh, love on there?
No, absolutely no. What's the other one? Like, I think one of the other quotes is like really meaningful, like not meaningful, unmeaningful, and it's just like I could really go for some chicken and chips because he says it every fucking shift in the same fucking way. But no, like take your time and go like fuck. I feel like you can apply that to so many things.
Yeah.
There's so many things you should take your time with. And there's so many things that you already know how to do, and just go for it. Just absolutely go for it.
I think in this day and age now, we're at quite a difficult period with the way people are being brought up with, you know, the instant gratification. So people aren't willing to take their time. They want everything right now, and I'm victim for it. I fall massive victim for it.
Yeah.
You know, like this podcast, like I want it to be episode 50 deep already.
Yeah.
But I've got to slam in the work.
But you got to take your time and go like fuck.
Exactly. Yeah. Me and Pricey have to take our time. We do 2 weeks. Sometimes it's going to be 1 a week, but you know, it's a progression again, and not a destination, and that's why.
Exactly that, because it's everything. It's all about the journey. It's all about the journey, and every single person is still on it. Not to make it sound like a fairy tale, but every single person is still on their journey. Like you took a journey into the clothing industry and growing your brand. You took a journey into tattoos, and it's amazing. I took a journey into nursing and ended up being one of the persons that looks after like.
Do you think if you hadn't taken that journey into nursing, it would have led you to Sin City?
Like, I don't know. I've always gravitated towards music and gigs. Like gigs are such a massive part of my life. Like, not like, don't get me wrong. We'll run just tens and tens and tens of gigs all throughout the year. But then I'll also go off and see maybe like 40 odd gigs throughout the year on top of probably a couple of festivals, because it's just like live music, and music just means so much. Like,
well, I guess it goes back to what Hannah said, you know, when she's working, she has to be seen as professional, so she doesn't really enjoy it as much as she probably should. So like you yourself, you know, you work your gigs, you book your gigs, you spend that time with that particular client, and then you go off and do your own fucking thing. You know?
Yeah, no, there's exactly that. And there's so many times where, yeah, I really wanted to like stay like side stage or the back of a room for this gig. And I got like an earpiece in and something else happens in the venue. Because some of the times we're running, so basically Sin is like a 500 cap room and then a 250 cap room upstairs, but the venue splits. So sometimes we've got a club night going on upstairs, or vice versa. We've got a gig downstairs and we've got a club night upstairs, or spin that round. So we've got two different things going on at the same time that you've got to kind of man. And like you're halfway through one of their absolute bangers, you get a call on the radio, you got to go. Yeah, there's no fanning around. So
I radio out.
Sorry, I was out of service. So I think yeah, you're right, because there is an aspect of staying professional. Like you can still enjoy it, but you can't like fling yourself into the pit when you're 5 beers deep, because you know you can't fucking drink, because that's just tough. But I think that's one of the reasons like I go to so many gigs like throughout and all over the country as well. Like if someone good is playing and they're worth traveling to like London, Manchester for, then I'll go. I'll absolutely go, because it is such a massive industry. But if people aren't there to play the shows, the bands that you love, just that'll be it. That'll be it. Yeah. Which is the band that said, "I hope all your favorite bands stay together"?
I do not know.
There's a lyric somewhere. Yeah, there's and I can't remember who sings it. I hope all your favorite bands stay together.
It was Spice Girls.
It fucking wasn't. Bollocks. I'm on a fucking podcast for the first time and quote Spice Girls. Nah, I'm good.
It was definitely Spice Girls.
Is it Doors?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah. But I think that's great. And one of the ways that you can,
I think it was Carol Baskin. So I hope they stay together because she's being a bitch.
But like, I think that's one of the biggest things you can take away from the music industry. Like, if you don't put anything into your favorite bands, like they won't stay forever.
Yeah,
that's it.
Support your favorites. So our question 6 is like, do you find that music inspires you? Like, I know you on a personal level and have done since I was 11 years old, and I'm now 30 this year. So we've known each other for a very long time.
Almost 2 decades.
Almost. Like, what sort of music would you listen to get motivated or focused?
I love anything that will kind of, so for example, to get like motivated and focused, like Ruben or Let Live. Every time, like I want something fast, I want something heavy, I want not necessarily proggy. I know Ruben are a bit proggy, but like I want something complicated. Or say for example that we've got like a drum and bass night on in Sin, and I brought one of the tills up to like, and I'm not the biggest fan of like drum and bass or electronic music or stuff like that. I bring one of the tills up to like Cash Up, and I will just fucking slam on Let Live, because
Jason Butler.
Yeah, no, this is it. And like anything that man touches is fucking gold. Like his new track with The Used is good. But yeah, like to get motivated like them, and Modern Baseball and Sorority Noise and some of those kind of
I've listened to a lot of Sorority Noise and Modern Baseball like the last couple of weeks, and I'm currently really into Hot Mulligan.
It's so good. Yeah. It's so good, especially Sorority Noise. There's so much passion and energy and anger that comes through it, and like some people could listen to like especially Modern Baseball and they turn around and be like, oh, this is just like fucking sad boy.
Yeah.
Emo.
The amount of times Kelsey's been like, can we just not listen to Modern Baseball anymore? Like, I feel really sad, and I'm like, yeah, but no, I'm still listening to them. Yeah.
Like
yes, I can see why they're perceived as sad boy.
Yeah, but like you could listen to them and like, because maybe it's because you know what the songs are about or something like that. Yeah. Like Apartment is such a good fucking song from start to finish. It starts off sad, it's so fucking good. And then of course like you get onto like Dinosaur Pileup, and then I'd even go down towards like Tears for Fears. Holy shit. Like 80s music is just I mean, it's the snare.
I don't know if you've ever heard Pricey's DJ set, but Pricey, you don't have to rock it with that DJ set.
What type of music?
I'll have to come and do a set in Sin City.
Oh my god! Oh, honestly, Liam, like, what have you played? You've done some weddings, haven't you, Pricey? And they've just been. You did your wedding, your 30th.
I did my 30th, and we had a DJ booked, and everyone was just like, "Please get back on stage."
Oh god!
Playing the DJ
That's what you want. That's what you want.
I know you did a DJ set when we went to see On Guard in Aberdare.
Yeah, but like I had a wedding booked in for this year, but that's going to change next, you know. I'm not. I just use an app and I just run it through this DJing app. It's brilliant.
Yeah,
it's cheating, totally cheating.
Well, but you say that, but the beauty of DJing is
song selection.
It's the song selection, right? That's when I can appreciate a DJ. We have so many DJs come through Sin, and like most of them are really, really lovely. Like we have fucking Wilkinson, we had Holy Goof, Skepsis, like all that. And Holy Goof, if you've ever heard of that man, like I'm not into his music at all. But holy Goof.
Holy shit.
Yeah, exactly that. But he came down. He came down and said, like, I mentioned to him in the green room when I was like brought him back upstairs from like stage and everything. It's like some of the staff are gutted they're not off tonight. So we hung around till the end of the night. That's like 4 a.m. And he came down and said hi to everyone.
Wow.
Like that's really good. And I can appreciate that. But to be a good DJ is all about song selection.
Yeah.
And pricing. Yeah, I mean, if Jack's fucking awarding you that crown, then I am excited.
Yeah.
Well, bloody hell. Put me on a pedestal.
I am your pedestal.
I can't come to Swansea. I'd have to be against Pullen then. You have to.
Oh, Mr. Pullens.
Scott is.
Fuck it. I can't remember the last time he DJ'd in Sin.
Scott Pullen.
It must have been a New Year's Eve.
Why do I know that name?
Scott Pullens, Broadside.
Broadside.
Oh, does he DJ then? Does he?
Yeah, Pullens.
You should do like a collaboration where you and Scott do a DJ night.
Yeah, we could do.
That would be class.
That'd be banging. That would work.
Yeah, we could do that. We could do a West Wales
Battle of the Tats.
Tats
and
battle.
tunes.
Tats and tunes.
Tats out.
Tunes.
Just tats out.
Yeah. Yeah, so no, I won't be playing Sin City. I've already got stage fright of the thought of that. So heavily inspired by music.
Oh, like ridiculously, like gigs all
heavily.
Heavily. But the first proper gig I ever went to was Robbie Williams supported by Top Loader in the Millennium Stadium in 2000.
Dancing in the Moonlight,
or 2001. Yeah, those boys. But then the second gig, in which I class as my first proper gig, was in 2003. My dad took me up to go see Sum 41 on the Does This Look Infected tour. And I had long hair.
In Cardiff, right?
Yeah. That was it. It was absolutely astounding. And so it was my first gig. I was either 12 or 13.
You were 12.
I had long hair past my shoulders, and for some reason, I decided to take PVA glue and spike my hair up and spray it red, so no one could come near me within like a fucking 6 foot diameter. Basically, I was social distancing way back when it wasn't cool. And I loved that show so much. I hold that so dear to my heart. So around. I think it was almost smack on 10 years to the day. It was Father's Day, and I took me and Dad out to Berlin, and he had no idea what we were going out to do. And I took him to go see Sum 41 10 years to the day of my
crazy.
Yeah, like that was it was so special to me that I was just like, I have to, because I knew for a fact, like, my dad's music taste is fucking great. My mum's music taste is fucking great, but like
my mum and dad don't have any music taste. You know how weird that is for me?
They have to have a music like that is so weird for someone whose life revolves so much around playing music, listening to music, being inspired by music, making clothing around music.
Yeah, they're not asked by it.
They've got
they're not. My dad used to have like an old record collection. He says, "Oh, I like ELO." I said, "Dad, if you could put any band on right now, what would you put on?" He was like, I don't bloody know. ELO. And I was like,
That's such a cop-out answer.
It is, like, albeit ELO absolutely banging. But like my mum and dad, like considering the person I am, I thought they would have much more of a musical, like your mum and dad, or your dad or your mum. You know, I know they both love music.
I know.
Nothing.
My mum likes people. What else does she like? She likes putting magic. Is it magic?
Magic Mike.
No, FM. She puts Magic FM, and whenever she's having a drink, and she makes you sit there and listen to all this really shit music. This is the banger. Right. Okay. But she did teach me all of the lyrics to the Bangles. Was it Eternal Flame? So I can sing all of that. All of it.
Proceed.
And here is Mr. Pricey with Eternal Flame.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Conway.
So yeah, music was always like a massive part of me growing up. Like from a very early age, like my nan always had Elvis on. My parents were always listening to the Eagles. Like When Hell Freezes Over is such a good album, but it didn't like just stay there. It jumped into Fatboy Slim. Like it just and Led Zeppelin, and again like Tears for Fears, Echo and the Bunnymen, like all of these things amalgamated to me just having this love of music. And
you do have a very eclectic music taste, and it honestly surprises me some of the shit you come out with. I'm like, what? How do you even get onto that?
Yeah, well, can you remember back? Was it Christmas time? I was home. We'd all come over to the your chalet for a beer. Was it summertime?
The house I'm in now?
Yeah, it was around Christmas time. So we went to the chalet back to yours, and we, me and Geordie and Eve came over, and I slammed on a playlist. And you turned around and was just like, what the fuck is this? but more to the point, you turned around at the start was just like, what the fuck is this? In utter disgust. Let the track roll for a second. You were like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think from like Spotify discovery helps a lot. Finding smaller indie bands, not India bands, but like
like India
like Bollywood bands.
Yeah. What are they? Like bands without a label.
Indie.
Yeah. But not indie.
You know, Indian bands. I love an Indian band.
But finding bands like that and just letting kind of Spotify take over. Like I don't completely rely on Spotify. Like I'll get recommended bands by friends. Like a lot of the people who I'm friends with have an amazing, a flawless music taste. Like Scott Neal, James Ralston, Alex James, Joe Powell, who I'm living with currently. My girlfriend Ella, like her music taste is phenomenal. That goes all the way from Tom Waits to fucking Guns N' Roses. It's more old school, but it's introduced me to
Tom Waits is incredible, man.
He's fantastic, and I listened to him, and then she turned around because she's got a Tom Waits tattoo, and you could recognize Tom Waits anywhere, even in tattoo form. And she turned around and was just like, "You know him?" I was like, "Yeah, I kind of do." She was just like, "Now you'll really know him," and just put it on, and it's just fucking incredible. So even now, I'm getting released to a whole amalgamation of music that has already existed.
Amalgamation, another word from Liam.
So yeah, I'm being introduced to this by friends all the time. Like new music, like Jack turned around the other day. You sent me that track by the Used, the new Used album. I've always loved the Used, and that's phenomenal. Well, you were the one that introduced me to Let Live.
Yes.
I remember this vividly. I walked into your house with a bottle of Sailor Jerry rum.
Yeah.
Before they ruined it and they took the vanilla out.
Yeah.
And you sat me down, handed me a PlayStation controller with this is in Bridge Cottage.
Yeah.
Handed me a PlayStation controller with your fucking surround sound system and went, play this. And it was the Silent Hill PT. It was the playable teaser.
Yeah.
And I was like, if anyone who knows me, I love shit like that, but I jump like a motherfucker.
Do you know? I remember I was out of the room, like peeking around the door.
Well, no, I didn't know that till afterwards because I was enveloped in this fucking psychotic corridor of a video game.
Yeah.
And then obviously I died because everyone obviously dies. And you turn on the fucking lights again, frightened the shit out of me, and was just like, what I really wanted to show you is listen to this fucking band. And you slung on Banshee. Yes! Yeah. You slung on fucking Banshee by Let Live. And I was like, this is the fucking best. This is the tits. This is so good.
There's so much energy. There's so much in that song that just makes you want to fucking punch it. And I found another song like that yesterday by Dream on Dreamer called Explicit. And I was like, yes, what is this? Yeah. This is dirty. And I was like, fuck yeah, you have to listen to that, man. It's really good.
Yeah.
Really, really good.
Like jumping back like to Let Live, like I managed to see Let Live like 4 times before they just like sadly disbanded. One of them being in like Leeds Cockpit, which doesn't actually exist anymore. But my favorite gig, and probably my favorite gig of all time, is me and Joe Powell. We went to go see Let Live in Underworld. So that's 200 cap. And this is it's such a good venue. I was sat next to fucking Daniel P. Carter at the bar. That man's tall as shit.
No, you're just short as shit, Lee.
That's a regular sized dude.
That's a regular.
I recognize that ankle. That's Daniel P. Carter. This is just as their last album came out, and they played a fucking hour-and-a-half set, and it was just the sweatiest, most manic gig I've ever been to in my life. And me and Joe so Joe was driving. I got rat-assed. I was wanking. I was no use as a sat-nav on the way home. But that's what I mean. Like, that was in Camden, Underworld. And we went from, I think by this point, like, me and Joe, so one of the reasons that me and Joe met and became like best friends was because of music. I got invited. Hannah worked in Sin. I was one of the only people with a car. Dropped a load of people up to a place called the Eltons in Swansea.
Breakfast.
And she was just like, oh, my best friend Joe's into, my good friend Joe's into like music like you. And I was just like, cool. Oh, it's his birthday next week. Banging. So I turned up to his birthday, got on like a house on fire, and was like, dude, have you heard of this band called Let Live? No, listen to them. A week later, we're in Camden Underworld.
So I introduced you, and then you introduced Joe.
And then exactly that. Me and Joe, like it was really lucky actually, because just before this lockdown, me and Joe got an apartment together because I was living on my own at the time. We got an apartment together, and honestly, without company and without fucking someone being around and him just to bounce fucking back and forth off, lockdown would have been so much harder.
Yeah.
This, like, right now is...
You're welcome.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, all of this came from, hey, Liam, do you want to play this scary fucking video game? All those years before. So, yeah, like, lockdown's been kind of, I'd say, a bit of a fucking breeze. I don't want to be that person to say it, but it's kind of been okay.
I found it easy. Like, Kelsey's had a bit of a rough time, like, because she thrives off being within a team, and she thrives off being with a lot of other people.
Yeah.
So, like, on her own in the lounge, you know, I'm out here editing podcast. I'm doing like my work from here and the studio, and she's found it really difficult. But me, I'm in my elephant here, man.
But yeah, I think you gotta have
face full pricey.
You gotta have.
And you're out for them.
You gotta have those things to keep you busy, keep you entertained. Although, like, I keep forgetting, like, this is ridiculous. Like, we're in the midst of the biggest global pandemic of a lifetime, and I keep forgetting it's happening. There's actually there's two parallels. There's two parallels. Each the other side of the spectrum. I'm sitting there, I'm chilling, I'm watching something on TV, and I, like, every now and again, a thought ping into my brain, like, shit, we're in a fucking lockdown. I forgot about this shit. And then the other thing, I was watching Westworld the other day. If you guys have seen Westworld.
No spoilers.
No spoilers whatsoever. No spoilers. Don't worry. I was watching Westworld the other day, and I was sitting there going, how are there so many people like so close together? What's going on? And the first thought that went into my brain was, oh, it's fine, they're robots.
They're all robots.
And then
You hasn't
I'm not
watched
saying
Westworld. You just fucked it for all of them.
And then they've had time to watch it. But obviously then the second thought is, shit, no, hang on, this was filmed way beforehand when people could actually go out and
those robots were allowed to touch each other beforehand.
Those robots were allowed to have a life of their own before they get rigged into HBO series.
HBO.
But yeah, it's a fucking strange time. It's all right.
Yeah.
And I feel very lucky to be able to say, like, it's okay.
Have you ever found you feel overwhelmed with how booking people works and overwhelmed with band members thinking they're rock stars and just acting like massive arseholes?
Tell
us all of them.
All of them.
The way that things get booked, like, so put it this way, when I was back in college, when me and Jack were back in college, we both started putting on gigs, and in a place called like Tenby Rugby Club and a few other places like a venue in Hartford. Those are the golden days of gigs for like Pembrokeshire. So many bands started sprouting out, and I feel like it had something to do with what we were both doing. We were putting on gigs, putting on a stage, putting on a platform. And back then, it was as simple and easy as walking home from college, giving Tenby Rugby Club, like not even like being conscious of what fucking date it was. Like, like being on the phone with Tenby Rugby Club and just going, can I have, what Fridays have you got free? Yeah, that Friday? Okay, cool. Yeah, that's fine. Let's do that. We'll find bands. It's fine.
Yeah, we'd book the venue before booking the bands.
Oh, yeah. And we just tell people, oh, there's a gig in like, 3 weeks, which is barely any time.
Yeah.
And then obviously I came into how you actually do it. And it's so much back and forth between agents. Most, like, some of the times, like, agents like won't reply to you. Or
Well, how many emails deep do your responses go? Like, how many? Do you know what I mean?
Like sometimes. So like Dean is one of the main bookers for Sin at the moment, and then before that it was Gary, and then I obviously dabbled with it.
Is that Whitaker?
Yeah, Dean Whitaker.
He used to run Bridge End Hobos, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. He's come down to us now. He's such a good fucking dude.
He is.
So he's kind of like the main booker. He's got so many contacts, and then obviously there's Gary, and then I've done a few things as well, obviously in regards to that. Part of my job is I get looped into the emails afterwards. So once there's, say for example, Dean will go back and forth with someone, and we could be talking like 10, 11, 12 emails deep by this point. Of going back and forth, trying to figure out a date, trying to figure out a fee, trying to like just, and then agents going, yeah, we'll get back to you. And then 2 months later, there's another 10 emails to go back and forth. For example,
I thought the agents would come to you with a fee, or do you barter for that fee?
You basically barter. This is part of the music industry that isn't well explained in any way. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So like, for example, say if I wanted to get superstar DJ Pricey to come down, and
you'd have to go for his booking agent, and that's me.
Exactly. So I go through his booking agent, which is Old Eltons, Eltons talent agency.
Yeah.
Exactly. Booking and clothing.
I'll turn up like with a full t-shirt.
So I turn around and say, hi guys, just introduce yourself. So you give an introduction of yourself, you give an introduction of the venue, regardless of if you kind of like, if you've got a really tight relationship with that person, you don't have to, that person knows who you are. These guys are going to get emails so much throughout. They've probably got tours with other artists going on at that time, so it can be busy for them too. So you turn around, you give your introduction, say blah 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 blah. I'm Liam, one of the events and marketing managers from Sin City Nightclub. Brief description: we're one of the biggest independent venues in Wales. We're wondering if you've got any tours scheduled up, and you kind of give them a time frame. So you put the ball in their court, and then hopefully wait to get back to you. Just say let's blah 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 blah. Let's have. Can you have an offer? So most of the time when it comes to big artists, it's an offer versus 80%.
What does that mean?
So what that means is you say, right, okay, pricey, I'll give you, I can offer £1,000 versus
Nope.
80%.
Okay, I'm just going to stop you there, and I'll take a bag of.
So
salt and
there we
vinegar.
go. All
I'm
right.
going to say
Wait,
back
do you
to Charlie then.
want McCoy's or Walker's?
Walker's Charlie.
Oh.
Deep Ridge Charlie.
Thinly cut Charlie.
So the versus 80% is then 80% of the box office they also take.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So then the promoter is left with, so it's a bit different because you're booking in-house. Because we would obviously keep the bar as well.
Yeah.
And then the 20% of the door. For example, some artists, it's a flat rate and they turn around and being like, we're doing a tour, it's $2,000, that's it.
Yeah.
Cool. That's a lot easier. So with other artists, that's really standard. This versus 80% is they'll say £2,000, brilliant, 80% of the door, tickets is £20, 500.
That's huge.
It's massive, but this is how touring. This is how artists survive. They survive on tour because you got to think of the merch sales on top of that as well. So they get a fee. They get a fee. Usually, if they're that big, they'll have a rider.
Yeah.
They'll have they'll have like a takeout fee as well. So like a per head for food, hotels done and paid for.
Yeah.
And then the venue is then stuck with 20%, which sounds like quite a small amount, but it can be quite a large number in the sense of ticket sales, ticket figures. Say, for example, it sells out completely.
Yeah, but 80%, man, that's 80% of your sales.
No, exactly. But then we
nothing.
also then take the bar as well.
Yeah.
One of the things that we don't do is charge a venue levy, which is we charge people to sell merch in the venue because that's such a strange notion.
It's weird, that, isn't it? That people actually do that. But they do it.
I can understand it on a scale of like Motorpoint Arena because that's the Motorpoint staff running that merch for like the big band, say like the Slipknots, but then you've got fucking
the Slipknots.
The Slipknots. I was gonna say the Machine Heads.
I like those.
Did you actually
That
just
sounds
say
like a
that?
swing
I meant-
version of the Slipknot.
We are the Slipknots.
Shut up, Corey. Oh, can you imagine a jazz album from them?
As I close my eyes, I feel that I'm slipping away.
Yeah, but I still want them to fucking hit that keg with that baseball bat.
In the softest
Just
manner.
in 5-4, please. 5-4, clown. No, when I say the Slipknots, I mean the people of that level. The Slipknots, the Machine Heads, the Muses.
I just wanted to clarify that for anybody who's listening who thinks Liam calls Slipknot the Slipknots. Because I'm pretty sure the Slipknots supported the Kooks once.
Fucking hell. Would they ever be caught dead? The Jimmy
Woo.
The bowling for the soup.
The Slayer.
But yeah, so in that regard, when it comes to how big things are, I understand it when it comes to like Motorpoint Arena or other venues of that caliber. But it's just it's how to keep the bands touring. It's how to keep the venues alive. It does seem like a huge percentage, but it is just genuinely like industry standard. You will still make your money back, some money on top of that. You'll take the bar as well. But what you're also doing, which I think is one of the most important parts of it. Yes, money is important. It means you can pay your rates. It means you can pay your staff. Like, that is really important. One of the other things is it's the street rep as well. Yeah. It's the street rep. Where the fuck is Frank Carter and the Rattlesnakes played in Wales recently?
City.
Swansea. Where the fuck is Twin Atlantic played in Wales recently? They supported Kings of Leon in the Liberty Stadium. And then they came to Sin City and they played there. Like Low Down the Line. It's like all these people. So as much as
it seems to be like the pattern is Bristol, Cardiff, Swansea, Sin City. You know what I mean? So you got your Bristol, Fleece, Thekla, wherever you want to be, O2, whatever. Cardiff,
Exchange,
Exchange in Bristol. You got Cardiff Club. You got what else you got in Cardiff?
You got Fuel. You got Solus, which is now what, E-Plus?
Yes.
And then you got the Great Hall, and then obviously Full Moon as well, down Womberley Street.
Yeah.
Which is such a fucking cool street.
Do you know how many times I've called that street Wombany?
Wombany.
It's Wombany, right? But Hannah the other night called it Womanby.
Womanby. It's Womanby, yeah.
It is Womanby.
Yeah, I've however long I've called it Wombany. But yeah, that's beside the by. And then obviously they come down to Swansea, and for me, the only two venues in Swansea is Principality, Sin City.
Yeah, I mean there are
smaller venues.
Yeah,
but the bigger bands that come down to Swansea would place in.
Yeah, and then obviously you've got the Branwen Hall as well, which I think the last really big artist that came down, and I had the absolute pleasure of looking after. I'm not the biggest fan of his music taste, so George Ezra came down to do a secret gig in Swansea.
Well, you managed that hall as well, or you were in
No, we don't. So what I also do, as well as Sin, is I freelance out as an artist liaison or PA as well.
Yeah.
So, because like that's one thing I kind of do pride myself on. Like I can keep shit at bay when I am starstruck. Meeting Frank Carter, like I was screaming inside because I have loved Gallows since seeing them in fucking 2006 Full Ponty. Jesus Christ, they were amazing. And then to have them come and play where I fucking work and look after them for the day. Yeah. Sean Smith came in to do Sappening podcast there. Like it was like a big deal of a day. And I tried to keep it as cool as fucking possible. So I'm good in that regard. And my friend at the time, Nathan Walker, he now manages, he's now assistant manager of venues for Cardiff Student Union. So he looks after Great Hall and E-Plus. But me and him were good friends, still are good friends. And he was working for Orchard Entertainment at that time.
Oh, yeah, okay. And
his PA dropped out last minute. And I remember I was living in a house with Joe Powell, Scott Neal, Jason, and our friend Hannah. We all worked in Sin, all five of us. And we'd had a boozy one the night before. And I got this phone call at 9:00 in the morning from Nathan saying, do me a favor, can you come down and be someone's PA in Branwen Hall? And I was just like, yeah, that's cool. Who is it? And he was like, I can't tell you till you get here. And I was just like, okay, yeah, that's fine. And I walked in and it was fucking George Ezra, which is huge. So I spent the day, obviously, looking after those guys. Like they needed something. I went and grabbed it, got them onto sound check in time, blah, 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 blah. And one of the coolest things is like George Ezra, he seems like he's a fucking tall dude, but he's really nice.
That's insane.
And I was never like too into his music. Like I knew his Budapest track. He just released fucking Shotgun as like a B-side, and it hadn't gone anywhere near the charts because that took a little while to go. And I walked in at one point and he was lying on the floor, covered in towels, with like a tea-like candle on his forehead, just relaxing. As
you do.
Yeah, exactly. Warming up his vocal cords. And he kind of opened his eye and he turned around and was just like, you play? And kind of gestured towards the piano. I was just like, yeah, I can play. And he was just like, okay, do me a favor. I need like a B flat. I need a D, and then we're going to go for an F sharp. And I was just like, okay. So like, what? I freelanced out to help. Like I just did this to help a friend out. Like I was getting paid. I didn't even need fucking money for that day. It was one of the fucking best days. You want to go hang out with George Ezra and help him warm up? Yeah, fucking right. So like I helped him warm up. The worst part about that is I had to work in Sin that night.
You didn't know what notes he wanted.
Fuck no. Helped him warm up. He was about to go on stage and I had to go to work. I had to go work in Sin. I never saw the show. I never saw the show, but like that was
The show must go on, my friend.
exactly. But like one of the things like that sin and this industry has taught me is to try and be as versatile as possible. So like I did that. I looked after that. Like that was a huge deal. And then for the university, for their summer balls, I usually get hired on as like an artist liaison. And like last year they had Corrupt FM and Eva Lazarus and the Howl and the Hum, and I looked after all of them. And like Corrupt FM, they were fucking nutters. Have you ever seen that TV show?
I don't know what that is, man.
So Corrupt FM started off as like a really satirical comedy show about a grime station in London, and it was just a bunch of comedians making music, pretending that they had this radio show, and that's how the show was made about it. But the music wasn't that fucking bad, and they were actually really funny people. So they started getting hired out to do all these shows, and one of them they came down, but like they are exactly how they are on TV as they are in real life.
Yeah,
fucking nutters. Lovely people. They're fucking nutters.
See, so you mentioned like George Ezra said to you, "Do you play?" And you said yes. Like I know you and have done for forever. Like I know you play piano. Is that what you do to wind down? Like if you're in a pretty shit state, your head's not in the right place, do you just sit down at your keys and just play away?
100%. Oh, there is nothing better. And even if you're wound up, learning and like trying to learn a new piece of music, like you find some sheet music, or you find a lick that you really like, you find a song that you really like, and you sit down and you try and learn it, and you can't quite get it straight away. Yeah, like there's so many times where I'd come home from like a really like stressful shift, or like work isn't generally stressful. It can just be like busy. Like a Thursday night we'll see about 1,000 people come through the doors. Like it can be busy, and like you just stress out, and I could just go home and just sit down at the piano and just play for a couple of hours. And I'd lose time just
it's escapism, isn't it, man? It's getting away from everything that you're currently going through.
Yeah, and I think like it's almost a little bit, because like I play video games as well. I think it's also like a lot like video games as well, in the sense that you're trying to beat a boss, or trying to pass a level, or you're trying to learn this lick, or you're trying to learn this tune, or you're trying to get it fucking right. And when you do, even though it's just to you, it's a fucking huge accomplishment, and you got all this dopamine just flying out as like a reward response. And I feel like that's like I use piano and music and like gaming in a way to sit down and have those rewards and relax at the same time. Even if I am getting stressed out because I can't fucking get this piece of music, or this trill is just ridiculous. Why are you playing in octaves? My hand's tiny.
I've been listening to piano players going to sleep the last 2 nights, and I haven't slept as good as that in a long time. And I've learned some of the songs on it, on that playlist, and they're just so nice to sit down and play. And quite difficult to learn as well, but it is very tranquil playing piano.
It's putting the time in and getting something back. As I say, like it's just you. Like don't get me wrong, like you can play piano for someone else and they will like it, for example, but for you, that initial it's kind of like winning that battle against that piece of music for your brain to absorb it. And once it's done and you've learned it and you can do it, like it's a huge accomplishment for you. And I just going back very briefly to what you said, like about like listening to the piano player before you go to sleep. I listen to a podcast every night before I go to sleep, because like silence, don't get me wrong, silence is great. And like, but especially in like a time like this, you don't need silence. Like there is so much, like I jump in the shower, music on, I'm cooking, music on, or podcast on. I'm reading. I'll stick on a film score.
Were you stick on a film score whilst you're reading?
100%. And one of the things I love about that, like I'm reading a book called Dune at the moment. And it was one of the main influences for Stanley Kubrick's 2001: A Space Odyssey. It's kind of like Lord of the Rings in space, which sounds a little mental. Like they're not going to a volcano with like a ring, but it's like that complicated with all these families and spoilers alert. But like chucking on the Interstellar soundtrack with that.
So you're like creating your own movie, essentially. Our brains are so fucking clever. Our brains will find patterns where they're not meant to be found. I'll read something sad in the book and I'll notice a downturn in the music, where that music could have been downturning for the last fucking 10 minutes. And I would have been conscious of it. But as soon as I then become really conscious of it, I'm just like, this is amazing. This is so good. So yeah, I feel like music is such a big part of media and content and everything that you consume, that you can read a book while there is music on and your brain will find patterns in the music. And I find that so relaxing. Music is such a massive part of everybody's life. Like the future of sin, like how do you see that playing out now with everything? Obviously you got the Save Our Venues thing. Are you part of that?
Yeah, so we've been part of the Music Venues Trust and Independent Venue Week for I believe 4 or 5 years now. Because we weren't always independent. When I started in 2014, we weren't an independent venue. We were owned by the Students' Union. And then at the end of, when was it? 2014, 2015, on that start of the academic year, Swansea University turned around and said, no, that's it. We don't want Sin City anymore. We're going to close it down.
Fucking idiots.
But so then obviously Gary, who was the general manager at the time, had to inform all of us. He was like, I'm really sorry, but the club's done. That's it. And Gary fucking rose out of the fucking flames like a fucking brilliant big old phoenix that he is. And then turned around 2 weeks later and was just like, I bought the club. Gary owned he was just like, I bought the club. Everyone can have their jobs. And ever since then, we have been and operated as an independent.
Holy shit, I did not know he just like straight up bought the club. Like I knew Gary's like a massive part of Sin, but I didn't know that is what he'd.
Oh no, Gary is Sin. Big G is Sin. He is Sin. If Sin was anthropomorphized, it would be Gary. That was another word.
If Gary was photosynthesized, he would be
anthropomorphized.
He'd be Mecha Streisand of Swansea.
Gary Optimus primed into a nightclub.
Using his lexicon currency.
Yeah, so that's how this still is a sin. Gary, because of Gary. The only reason that place exists, lives, breathes, operates, and succeeds is because of that man.
Is he recognised for what he's done for the community?
He's a very humble man. I think a lot of us are very humble.
You
humble
can be
in
humble,
that sense.
and then so you can be humble, and then you can be deserving of recognition.
I like a lot of people. The way that when we put out content and stuff like that, or for example, so our birthday's on New Year's Eve. We'll be 14 years old on New Year's Eve, because initially the club was started by 4 different promoters, who then subsequently sold it to the university. So it started off as an independent business, went to the university, and then it came back. It evolved back into it. I didn't want to use the word regressed, because regressed is
negative. Yeah.
That's a down. Yeah, it's a downer of a word. It evolved back into its original purpose. And it like, so when we put out content, or like, for, as I said, like it was either our birthday or New Year's Eve, when we turn around and say like, Gary and the team, like when Gary took over the venue. So it's more of like a took over kind of thing, not saved, in which it was fucking saved.
Do you not feel like he should be recognized for doing that? Although he might not feel like he wants to be, but
yeah, I like Gary. I think like Gary's
will
a humble
Gary
dude.
listen to this?
He's fucking probably. Hi, Gary.
Gary.
Hi, boy.
Good job, Gary. Man. If you are listening to this, Gary, like fucking hats off to you, man. Thanks for keeping the music alive. Straight up.
Yeah, like, and he'll appreciate that knowing. But the thing is, he'll turn around again and be very humble. Like, I feel like we aren't the type, even as a brand, as a venue, as a community and a family, because we are a family. Like, holy shit, anyone who gets a job like bar staff fucking comes in and does any tech for us, like they're then part of this tight-knit group. Like, we don't want to shove down anyone's throat like we were on the brink of extinction, we shouldn't be here if it wasn't for that man. We want to be like, cool, we're saved, let's put on a fucking party and just go.
I see what you're saying.
And just go. So it's all well and good like dwelling on what if sin didn't exist, or like, because fuck, like if sin didn't exist when it happened, God, I don't know where I'd be. Like, you know,
you're working for me.
Yeah, fucking A. Like it poses those sort of questions when instead.
Actually, you wouldn't be working for me because you smashed a load of screens when you were with me.
I broke one fucking screen. One screen. I go in on one day of charity work. A fucking, what do you get? Community service.
Fucking smashed one screen.
I had a great time breaking your fucking studio. I'm still so sorry about that. Fuck.
But I'll never get back.
Oh god.
No, I'm only joking. It's awesome. It was
20 quid. He's lying.
But yeah, there's those sort of questions where you can turn around and be like, oh my god, I don't know where I'd be without this place. But you don't have to fucking worry about those questions because you have that place. You have this reality.
Yeah.
This is where you are right now. The only way you can go is up.
Yeah.
Like so there's so many things you could dwell on. I just choose not to.
Yeah.
Like, as you say, like the whole purpose of this podcast, progression over destination. We're not a finished product. We're progressing.
Yeah.
As individuals, as a brand, as a club, as a music venue. Like, there may not be a destination at the end, but we'll have a fucking great time doing it.
Are there any sort of like life-changing, like personal moments that you feel that have contributed to like your progression? Like as like obviously we usually have business owners and stuff on, but for you in your career more than anything else. Obviously we spoke earlier about your like changing like your job in the like as a nurse, like in nursing and stuff. But is there anything else?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was a huge jump, and then I think so. One little project that we worked on, which I think really changed how I viewed my job and kind of purpose in the venue, is we came up with a concept. And we named it Hometown Shows. And Gary kind of turned around and said, I'd like you to have a little pet project. I need you to touch base with Swansea bands, Welsh bands, and let them know that they can play the venue for free with a sound engineer and a full PA system and da-da-da-da-da. And I went away and my first thought was, holy shit. This could be quite a big thing. So what we ended up doing, I took it, basically I wanted, and I keep saying I mean we created something which I wish that I had when I was growing up.
Yeah.
To have it like I mentioned earlier, like me and Jack, we'd be playing like Tenby Rugby Club. We'd run the gig. The venue, we'd run, like they'd run the gig. Matisse, we'd all run the gig.
Yeah.
Like there was no one turning around saying you should be doing this, you should probably be doing that, you need to get this out at this point. So one of the things that we really like put our heads together was we created a document. We've created a 10-page live music document which basically listed what you should do from when you decide that you want to play a gig or put on a gig, and then everything you need to do afterwards. The social media, the posters, where to like directing people towards independent artists to get their artwork done.
Is this available?
This is every summer. This is
the hometown show thing.
This is the hometown show.
So if they sign up to be on a hometown show, they get all this information.
Yeah, basically, they'd be able to get in contact. And I say every summer, even if we have people outside of summer that come and want to do an EP release or a single release, or they just want to play a gig in front of friends, then we'll always send them this document, and they'll come back to us for help, or like we need to put this Instagram post out or this Facebook post out, and like boom, like we'll fucking blast that everywhere as well, so everyone knows. And the more effort they put into it, like we have some bands that will come play, sell out the top room, which is 250 cap, walk away, because they walk away with every single penny of the ticket money. Because this is to go into the always too empty band pot for a van to go touring with, for recordings, for maybe to get on like a bit of sponsorship with Spotify to get adverts out there. So we're trying to build a platform for bands to turn up and go put in the work, sell out the venue, and have a little springboard. Because off this as well, we'll turn around and give them a PDF copy of all the settings they used on the sound desk and their stage layout as well.
Yeah.
Because one thing that promoters and venues and agents want is a tech spec.
Yeah.
So many people don't have a tech spec, and they'll turn around and be like, "Oh, there's two guitars, a bass, and a drummer." Yeah. And all I'd implore bands just starting out, local bands, independent bands, accomplished bands who don't do this, is to put together a list of, I use this equipment, I use this Vox Valvetronics, I use this Orange Tiny Terror, I use a DI for my fucking, I've got fucking 9 bass drums. Okay, we'll accommodate it. I mean, the stage might not, but we'll accommodate it. So I genuinely think like the biggest thing for me with the hometown shows is just being able to create something that I wish that I had, and not just me, like I wish my friends had as well. Because there's so many friends who didn't necessarily get in bands, like Joel Pendle, for example. Mate. Like that man's the best guitarist I know.
Yeah.
He was never in a band. But I think like with things like this, if they're in place or if they're in a community, it gives people the springboard, the stage to and the feasibility to actually make some fucking money from this, which is one of the hardest things. Like you see these little bands coming by. I remember going off to play like the odd gig in like Plymouth. We get paid 50 quid. Like, it costs a lot more to drive, for my mum to drive a Renault Grand Scenic all the way to fucking Plymouth. Thank God we had a fucking place to crash there. But, like, it gives these guys, and it gives them a scope of what they could be getting per gig as well. Don't get me wrong, like it's a local gig with a local fan base. You need to spread yourself out, and it will be quieter from time to time to time. But once agents start recognizing you, venues start recognizing you, they will be able to turn around and go, I've got a fucking band for them. And they're good, they're on time, they're punctual, they've got a fucking tech spec, they know what they're doing. Like, it's great. This is like, there's so many people turning around these days and saying, like all these venues are closing down like nationwide. Like, where are they going to get the next Muse? Using that as an example. And the thing is, these venues are still operating and succeeding as well. And these bands are being able to be. These bands are springboarded then hopefully by
the local venues
and championed by these local venues, because like the local venues are realizing, or have realized, is that by a band tagging you, or just keeping, like, for example, like I keep notification, or we keep notifications on for local bands through our Instagram. So we follow most of the majority of the local bands that do have Instagram. We ping up, and if like it pings up like so and so has released a new single, then we're able to then just reshare that straight to our story. Like, we've got thousands of followers across a multitude of platforms that may not be following these guys, for example. And I'm not saying like automatically, like we share a post, they gain 100 followers.
Yeah, but it's another platform for them to gain potential followers.
Exactly. And there's like, if one person follows and then tells friends, like, say for example, I found a fucking banging band. If I found a banging band, that track goes out to fucking Joe Powell, it goes out to Ella, it goes to you, it goes to the Squids, it goes to the fucking family back home.
But if you think about it, like, I showed you Let Live in 2012, whatever it was.
Yeah.
You shared Joe Powell, and now you share an apartment with him, and now he's your best mate.
Yeah, exactly. Music is,
but it doesn't come down just to bands playing that show, because you put a hometown show on, and then you obviously you get a local photographer coming up.
Yeah,
that local photographer will photograph that band.
Yeah,
like it comes down to like so Gav's episode he was talking about his career and stuff. And I spoke to Dean Harris of We the D.
Oh yeah.
And he said to me, Gav gave Dean his first his first taste of music photography. It was Cute Is What We're In For, and Gav gave Dean his pass.
See, that's
Dean, and like Dean got to shoot Cute Is What We're In For. So it's like stuff like that, you know, like you put on these shows, you give a potential photographer the platform to jump up onto and take that photo.
Yeah.
And that gives them the taste to shoot more.
And like,
exactly. You look at Dean's photography level now.
It's huge. Dean's come up to me a couple of times on the photography pass and shot bands and artists and DJs and stuff like that. Everything he turns around is phenomenal. And as you say, like without Gav turning, without that random series of events, that's what happened. It's the same thing with me taking Eva to the shows and having her fucking on my shoulders to take that. Now she turned around and she, you know,
British Portrait in Britain.
Yeah, Portrait of Britain winner.
Like insane.
Which is flawless. And I don't like, I'm not putting that down to me whatsoever, but
I am.
You're welcome, Eva. But I feel like without those platforms, or without that love of music, because it was basically gig photography straight off from the bat. Without that love of music that is passed down to us and just embroidered within us.
Embroidered? Is that any word?
Fuck off, will you?
Embedded.
Yeah, one of them. One of the two.
Yeah, it's embedded within us. It's a shared passion by everybody.
Yes.
Within this industry, and it's incredible. But like, so the last question was like, do you feel like there's any life-changing moments? Like, yes, I understand your life-changing moment maybe from nursing to music and stuff, but for me, my life-changing thing was when everything went to shit for me 2 years ago. Like, mental health wise, like for you, how have you found the last, say, how would you have found the last 7 years mental health wise for you? Because obviously I understand you've been through some stuff, but is there anything that you would say would have helped you in the last 7 years, or what have you been through? Understand if you don't want to say anything.
No, absolutely. The past 7 years, Jesus, where did that take us? 2013. So that was the start of my nursing career.
Yeah.
I went into it very fresh-faced, because I'd gone to university before. I went to Bar Spa University to do commercial music, did the 2 years of that, loved it, but they battered the love of music out of you, so I didn't want to do that. So I wanted to go down a different path, hence the nursing. Nursing, I take my hat off to every single nurse, every single NHS worker, because it's hard fucking going. From me, like training as a nurse, being a healthcare assistant, being a community carer, like that takes a fucking toll on you. Yeah. And I do, like, towards the end of when was it? I think it was about 2014. So towards the end of that, I was in a nursing placement at the time. And with these types of placements, you can't take time off. Like if you're sick, you make back that time up in summer. Yeah. And I turned around, the family was moving. Mom and dad sadly split. And they were moving from Cherry Tree Cottage. And if anyone who knew me back when we were growing up, Cherry Tree Cottage, we threw the parties. We had an open door policy. Everyone could come whenever they wanted. So it was a huge part of, I lived there for almost 13, 14 years. And I turned around and I said, hey, like, can I grab this day off to go move from my childhood home? And they said no. And they were just like, and they literally turned around and was just like, if you take this one day off, you will fail this module. And it turns out I could have taken that day off. I just asked the wrong person who didn't particularly get on with me or didn't like me, it turns out. And I could have gone. And that hit me and stuck with me fucking ages, that I couldn't go home and say, I know it's just a house. And some people listening might turn around and be like, yeah, it's just a fucking house. But like the memories there that we had was where I'm so close to the family. They're just such incredible human beings. I'm so lucky to be related to them. But to be able to go home back to Cherry Tree to say goodbye, and then being told that I couldn't, and then it turns out I could, like that stuck with me. So when it came to the point where I turned around and was thinking about leaving nursing, I still had like 2 or 3 pieces of work to go in, and I turned around and just felt like I couldn't sit down and do this work to the best of my ability. So I popped to, there's a place in the university called Extenuating Circumstances. And they to be fair to them, they turned around and they said, would you like a free counseling session? Yeah. And I went, and I was obviously listening to yours when you were talking to Hannah Morgan, and you walked in and you said, your name, and you just got upset. The exact same thing happened to me. Yeah. I walked in, I was just like, hi, my name is Liam. And it all came out.
Erupts,
and
right?
So much stuff came out because I was...
How good did that feel?
Well, it was great. So we finished that session and I didn't give a shit about the work. I went there to get an extension on a fucking essay and realized that I had more stuff going on. And then I went back for a second counseling session. The guy was very, very kind. And because you're meant to get it then prescribed by the uni GP, but he turned around and was just like, I don't think we're finished, I'd come back. So I went back a week or 2 later, and I kind of already set myself up in my head that I was going to leave nursing. And he just we talked it out, and it just got set in stone that was the best thing for me to do and to pursue what I wanted to do, which was music, or be a part of the music industry. And obviously I
cannot see, I've known you for forever, and I cannot see you disconnected from music.
No,
ever.
I spent maybe 6 months after coming back from university, disconnected, completely. And I was working in the deck at the time, which was in Dunkster. And I went for a pint. We all went for a pint in fucking Wisey's, and Rodri was there, and Rodri turned around and was just like, I think you'd be a good carer. And I was like, yeah, fuck it. Why not? So, I tried it. And again, I took my time and I went like, fuck. Like once I get into something, and I was just like, I really like this. I was like, right, back to fucking college. Did a year in college. While working at the same time, smashed out my science A levels, went back and got into fucking nursing. So I went like that, and I'm like, fuck, that just happened to not work out. But it did fucking bring me to Swansea. And that was the part that I was missing out. So when I was talking to the counsellor and I was saying like, fucking, they didn't let me go, what about like nursing and these placements and they're so strict and blah, 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 blah. And what I didn't realize is that I had to do this to be in Swansea, because then I had a platform for music again.
Yeah.
And then I realized after a while of jumping up to this position that Gary had very kindly offered me, the position I still hold now, is that I personally can, but on a bigger spectrum, we can make a difference.
Yeah.
To maybe the next band that's coming up, or all these kids who just want to express themselves and have some passion, and throw some passion out there, and have a stage to fucking do it, and have people like it might become nothing. It could become something.
But it becomes something. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But
like you could be the next promoter that, as you said earlier, you could become the next promoter that allows the muse of the industry to come through.
Yeah, no, exactly that. But even if the thing is with that point, even if that doesn't happen, you still let someone show their passion, hone their craft, and do that for a point in their time. Because, oh my God, like, I'm sure you would as well. Like, if you could go back and to 16, 17, 18-year-old self and play one more gig in front of all those fucking people.
Yeah.
Oh, it would be great. But we've been there and we've done that, and all we can do is pave the way for new.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm in a position, and Gary has like put me in a position to be able to do this with this absolute fucking weapon that is sin.
Yeah. And it is a weapon. It really is. But yeah, we're coming to the end of everything now. So if you'd like to like plug any of your socials and do your thing and just let everybody know if you're a band listening, if you're a brand new band listening to this, I hope you are listening to this because there's so much information here that can help you. But yeah, Liam, if you've got any socials you want to give over, email addresses, whatever.
I mean, like the main one is the Sin City Instagram. It's at Sin City Swansea. Twitter is exactly the same. Just type in Sin City Swansea on Facebook. You can get through to us. Messages on any of those platforms. But if you wanted to get in touch, like if you are a local band and you wanted to come and play a gig or one of the hometown shows, then it's info@sincityclub.co.uk. Either me or Gary will get back to you, and we'll try and start figuring out and penciling things in. And if anyone wants my Instagram, it's at @LEE_UMM, which is Liam spelled phonetically, which is another word.
I wanted to say this before. I know we were about to end the show right now, but I wanted to say, I was thinking about you earlier coming on tonight, and I was like, I'm pretty sure you were the person who got me into podcasts.
With
no such thing.
Yes.
And
circle back of love, let live to no such thing as a fish. Yes,
does, right? Like I listen to No Such Thing as a Fish, like probably once every 3 or 4 days, just for the fucking facts that they give out, and it always circles back to you and how you inspire me to build a platform for people to come on and talk to, and I'm so happy and so glad that I can have a platform where I can bring you onto this and talk about your accomplishments and what you've done and everything that you've been through. So it's a win-win for the both of us.
It's been a fucking dream to be on a podcast. This is huge for me. And it's been an absolute privilege to be considered as a guest. So thank you.
You are a guest.
To you and Pricey.
Yeah. Nah, man. Thank you. Well, yeah, that's us, man. I appreciate you coming on, and if you guys want to share this, we'll obviously share it on all of our platforms as well. But thank you so much for your time and all of your stories. I appreciate everything you've said tonight.
Absolute fucking pleasure. Absolute fucking pleasure. Thank you.
No problem at all. Cheers, buddy.
Thanks, man.
Huge thank you once again for tuning in for the whole podcast. That was amazing. Like, I love Liam. Been friends with him for so long. Unfortunately, Pricey had to drop out halfway through due to family reasons, but we still carried it on, and it was just so much fun. I really enjoyed talking to Liam. What a guy. Good on you, boy. Don't forget that you can check out the show notes on www.progressionoverdestination.co.uk. And if you enjoyed, please leave us a message on any of our socials. Our handle is @progressionoverdestination. Next week, we have Samuel Bassett from the YouTube channel Optical Wonder. This guy has been plugging away on Instagram and YouTube for as long as I've known him. The passion is massive with this guy, so make sure you don't miss out on that. We'll see you in that one.